Thanks. Look, before this debacle broke out at the weekend, People Before Profit and Rise had already come to the conclusion that we needed to move to a higher level of restrictions and that indeed we should pursue a zero COVID-19 strategy. And we held that view because after fairly intense discussions with public health experts and infectious disease experts, they predicted that we would be where we are now with rising infection rates all over the country, and that regardless of what the government were saying, we were going to need to increase restrictions. But what annoys me about what unfolded at the weekend, and this is really what I want to get to, is the manner in which the Taoiseach and the government generally tried to trash the CMO and undermine his credibility in a very cynical way, when it was clear that the CMO was simply offering a view about the need for greater restrictions based on his fears that if you didn't have those restrictions brought in quickly, the health situation would deteriorate, but so would the economic and social situation. That both the economic and employment and wider economic situation would be a bigger problem to deal with in 3 weeks if we didn't deal with it now. Now, the reason I point that out is because the Taoiseach, in the most cynical way, suggested that the CMO didn't give a damn about the economic impacts, the loss of employment and loss of income. That was the really dastardly part of the attack. Suggesting, oh, well, the CMO has no right to say this because the CMO won't have to suffer on the PUP. Quite ironic from a Taoiseach who's part of a government who's cutting the PUP to pretend that that was his concern. But it was dishonest, fundamentally dishonest, because of course the Taoiseach knew, the government knew, that Tony Holohan Neffet's view, whatever you may think of it, was precisely to minimise economic, social and health damage. Now, you mightn't agree with them, and let's have an honest argument about that, but wasn't it deeply cynical, devious and wrong to try and undermine him in that way, or to say that he didn't have a rationale?
In this, but really, in fairness, even on
you are becoming involved.
Even on a human level.
Can you stop the clock then?
On a human, yes, please stop the clock. Even on a human level, Deputy, I would suspect that that's something you'd be much better taking up with the Taoiseach than with the Minister. I know we have collective cabinet responsibility, but you would be much better having that debate with the Taoiseach rather than with a third party. My point, Count Corla, I don't mind the clock continuing now, start the clock again.
Is it was the government politicising it in a dishonest way. Instead of addressing the substance of the argument, there was an attempt to trash the person and the rationale behind his suggestions. Now, I think that's what's wrong, and I would ask you, on behalf of the government, to apologise for that treatment of the CMO and move on to a serious discussion, which can't be had in the limited time we have here, about strategy, which we've been asking for a number of weeks. We have a particular view. We want to hear your view, and we want to hear what the public health experts have to say. So I'd appreciate if you respond to that, Stephen.
Minister.
Thank you. Thanks, Deputy. Look, as the Count Corla has said, I don't speak for the Taoiseach, and I can apologise for myself, but I can't apologise for anybody else. And I can't apologise, and it wouldn't be proper for me to apologise for the government decision, because I believe the government decision was the right decision. Or even if it isn't, was made just like the Neffet advice was, with only one intention, which was to minimise the damage and do best by the country.
Look, do you agree that the response to Tony Holohan's, just in the last few seconds, do you agree that the response to Tony Holohan's letter and recommendation by the government really wasn't the best, and that frankly the government should apologise for the treatment of the CMO in that regard?
Thanks, Deputy. if I may, because I think it comes to the second part of your question, can we split this into style and substance, or process and substance? Because what matters is the substance. What matters is we've moved the country to level 3. And this debate, should it be level 3 or level 5? This is the debate that matters. What I can tell you with regard to the Chief Medical Officer is I did multiple interviews, a press conference, I was on prime time, and I think in every one of those I unequivocally and wholeheartedly endorsed the man and his role in that. That's all I can say, and I'm happy to do so again right now. And I can tell you that the Chief Medical Officer and I have met every day, and we are having exactly this discussion: testing and tracing, masks, antigen testing, suppression of the virus. Oh, I beg your pardon, sir. Are you sharing time?